Alrighty, so in the last video we talked a little bit about quantizing the beats you're recording. On the MPC there was an option to turn on or off quantization of your recorded performances on the pads automatically. So to kind of simulate that and to see what the difference in workflow is like, we're going to try that now in Ableton. And this is famously the quantize option that Dilla said, no, I'm going to leave that off, when most people would who are using an MPC for the first time would kind of just leave it on without even thinking about it. But that's kind of what gave Dilla his ability to produce those kind of wonky humanized beats in a way that other people weren't doing. So just to see where that lies in Ableton world. So I'm just going to remove our returns and sends at the moment because I don't think we need to see those. In Live, if we go to Edit and then down to Record Quantization, we can select the type of quantization we would like to have on our recorded MIDI parts. So if I try, as an example, at the moment there's no quantization for record quantization here. So if I record a new clip, remember we've got the count in set here. So here we go, and I'll play it particularly offbeat. And then try and stop that. You can see we're well off the beat, we're well off the grid, which is fine. But if we wanted to look at the workflow of it, now we create, go to Edit and Record Quantization. And I'm going to pick, let's just go. Well, if we pick eighth notes, for instance, we're not going to be able to play anything either side of the eighth notes of our beat. So let's just see what that's like. So now that is on eighth notes for record quantization. So here we go again. 3. Let's just see what that looks like. And you can see immediately when I stop recording, everything gets slammed back onto the grid. If we have listen to it with the click. You can't play off the beat if you want. And that's what most people kind of had when they first started using an MPC on by default. If we wanted to have 16th notes, we'd have to switch our record quantization to 16th notes. And then we'll do another one. And you can see immediately right on the grid. So that's cool. Interestingly, I don't think you can undo that and go back and switch between your human performance and the quantized performance. So that's why, unless you're sure that you definitely want it to be right on the beat for recording, maybe it's a good practice to kind of quantize it after the fact so you can kind of blend back and forth between your quantized beats. So that's one thing about quantization in Ableton, kind of related to the MPC. The other one, now this is going to look at two parts here, so I'll delete those others, and I have my original beat here. That's the one that's kind of 50% quantized. Now we have set this up so that our MIDI is going first through this MIDI input track and then routed to our new slice. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to do some MIDI processing on the MIDI channel before it gets recorded onto our new slice track. We've already processed the incoming MIDI by setting the velocity to 100% or 127. The other thing I wanted to do is try out a feature that appears on the MPC, which is the note repeat. Now, to kind of get that happening on, too far. To kind of get that happening on here, what we can use is an arpeggiator. So I've put an arpeggiator on here. And then we can play with this rate knob. But just before we do that, now that we have the arpeggiator on, let me just play a hi-hat for you. Now when I just hold down the hi-hat, the arpeggiator arpeggiates that one note and repeats it. So it's essentially like a note repeat. If I change the rate, and kind of have that effect. And that effect is also available on the MPC to switch the rate of your note repeat. So if I map that to something, now I could either map it to a key on my keyboard, or if I'm like just using my keyboard, I could select the parameter and just press up and down like this. Or if you like, you could map it to a knob on your controller. So Command M, select the parameter, and then select the knob. There we go. So now, I can kind of use that to create my hat pattern really quickly. And this is a common way to do it on the MPC. What I want to do though is I want to add it to this clip. So to add it to that clip, we need to use this function in Live, which is called the session record button. So you can see there on the left, toggles between playback and overdub recording for clips which are currently playing on armed tracks. And armed tracks is the key here. So because I have this armed, when I hit this session record, watch this clip. It has gone red. It is now in record mode. And now when I record, my hats get recorded onto there. I'm going to have to undo this, but you get the idea. And there we have them all recorded onto that clip. Of course, I can undo that. I hope I can undo it. And if I can't undo it, what I could definitely do is select that hi-hat note and then simply delete it. What I was just checking is that we didn't have to have this enabled as well, which is the MIDI arrangement overdub. When enabled, existing MIDI notes in a clip in this arrangement will be mixed rather than recorded, but maybe that's more for the arrangement view. We're in session view at the moment. So anyway, I just want to put some hats down here. So this is only possible because we're using this separate MIDI channel before we hit our new slice track. So here we go. Let's try that one more time. Session record. And hopefully, oh, I had 2 more bars to go. And you can see there, that's kind of recorded in that performance of mine. And if I didn't like it, can I undo? I'm surprised that doesn't get undone, but that's all right. We can simply delete it and do it one more time, and I'll do 4 bars worth. Here we go. So session record. We'll just let it run round once. I'm getting ready to put in my hats. There we go. If I wanted to add in some, for instance, in this gap here, just check that my setting is 16th. I just did it manually there. Back to the slice, which is still recording. I'm going to pop some in here. Kind of missed it. There we go. Cool. Popped them in. Take it out of session record, and then we're back. And those, as you can imagine, are already quantized because we were using the arpeggiator to do it. So they're right on the beat. And now I can kind of play with that sound. Turn off my metronome. Click on this slice. Here is the individual simpler. Turn on the filter. And maybe for this hi-hat, I want something like a high-pass filter. And take out some of those low frequencies. So not the perfect hi-hat pattern, but you can see how that could start to give you some ideas about how those types of hi-hat patterns could be programmed. Enjoy. See you in the next video.